So are you trying to decide the difference between having a bedded pack or freestalls? So in this video, I'll go over some of the biggest differences, kind of the labor, equipment you're going to need, and what you should expect. So number one is the differences for the animals, because we're solving to have the best animals at the least cost with the least labor. So let's go over this. So the differences for the animals, because the animals are what really matters. You matter, but the animals matter more when you're selling or trying to make a living. Right now with these dry cows and mature heifers here in the background, they have, at one point in their life, they had to learn to lay in a freestall, because if they don't, all they do is lay in the aisle and get manure. And one of the ways to keep them from learning is have the stalls too small that they can't get in very well, or generally can't get up. But we always had the problem of some turning around and manuring up the front and then to get all dirty. So if they learn to lay in it, they will stay a lot cleaner. You need to keep the stalls bedded so they are comfortable and stay cleaner. But one of the biggest differences that's a little harder with the freestalls is getting them to learn to lay in there. From a building management side, you can get a lot more stalls in than a bedded pack area, because with a bedded pack, you need about 100 square foot per animal. Whereas here in a freestall barn, you're all basically 4 feet by, their bed is like 4 by somewhere at 8 feet, but you need enough of lunge room, because with freestalls, if you don't have it, when the cow gets up, they roll forward. They roll on they get kind of in the knees. They have to go forward to go up. That's why if one's jamming the freestall, you stand in the back, you hang on to their tail and pull with all your might. So that is a disadvantage, because with the freestalls, because in the bedded pack, they can lunge forward and get up a lot easier. And that's also the reason why you tend to put any sick or ones that can't walk right on bedded pack, because they can get up a lot better. Because that is a disadvantage with the freestalls. The animals will beat themselves up if they get sick or have any lameness issues, and they start getting up and running into the neck rail. If the neck rail is too far back, you'll get these big nasty, I don't know what, on top of their neck from where they hit all the time, and they can go backwards from that. But the advantage of the freestalls is they can stay cleaner with a lot less effort per animal. But you can just go down and scrape the aisle here, and you got all the manure out and a little bit of bedding, and they're all good. But you have to have it designed. You have to have it designed, the stalls big enough for the cattle, and you have to have enough of room to get up. The disadvantage with bedded pack is it just takes a lot more area, and you have to be a little bit more awake with the bedding on keeping it dry. If you are tilling it to keep it hot, you have to till it every day, because that heat helps dry it out, because we're trying to solve for dry, happy animals. And if you mess up with bedded pack, it can get wet, and the whole thing's wet, and it's almost maddening. You have to clean out and start over again. So we were talking about the bedding differences between freestalls and bedded pack is kind of the cost. It takes a lot less bedding in the freestalls. So if you can easily get shavings, it doesn't take a huge amount. But with bedded pack, it takes either a lot of shaving, something with a lot of carbon to keep it. So when you till it, it keeps heating. So if you're like in New York, where it's harder to have corn fodder because you don't grow as much grain, bedded pack is not nearly as popular. Bedded pack is more popular in areas where there's cheap, easily obtainable bedding, such as corn fodder, shaving, straw, something you can chop up and make fine. It just takes a lot of it with bedded pack. But the building is also cheaper with bedded pack. So we're getting the building cost. So a bedded pack barn is just a square one like this, and you put bedding in there, and you don't need all the interior, all the dividers and pipes you do for freestalls. Freestalls, you tend to have mattresses or sand. Bedded pack, it's all in one system. The manure with bedded pack, it's cheaper because the manure storage is within the bedded pack. You only clean out every so often if you're composting, like maybe twice a year. Whereas freestalls, you're cleaning up every day, twice a day, to keep it clean and dry. So there's a lot more building costs with freestalls than bedded pack, but there's also labor on both sides. So to sum it up, should you go with bedded pack versus freestalls? So I've been on a farm all my life, helped my dad with the cows, and now I make ventilation equipment. And I've seen this repeatedly. If they have a lot of cows, there's a herd with about 180. It's not a lot, but they're getting tired of the bedded pack because of the quantity of bedding that it takes. So if you've got more than about 50 animals in whatever pen, so this could be like for heifers. So if you have a group of heifers that's 50 heifers, bedded pack will work fine. But once you get to the hundreds, the Freestalls make more sense because it takes a lot more bedding with the bedded pack, and Freestalls are a little bit, they're easier to manage. They can be harder on the animals, but it'll cost less in the long run, and you can get more animals into a smaller building with Freestalls. So your building cost is higher and the bedding is less with Freestalls, so that's why I would lean that direction as your animal quantity goes up. So my name is Kevin Hoover. I've built over 35,000 ventilation controllers and thousands of fans in the last years. If you've got any questions on them, we'll be happy to analyze your barn and give you some recommendations. We make the big ceiling fans, which really work well for the bedded pack. We do not make any panel fans. Panel fans blow more of a rectangular area. Big ceiling fans do big round areas. So if you got Freestalls, the rectangular areas go well with panel fans, but big ceiling fans will work with them as long as you're have the animals in about a 50-foot wide strip. Give us a call at 610-987-0488, and we'll be able to get you to text you pictures of your layout, and we'll be able to get a recommendation for you.